Hey there. Today we're going to talk about the differences between Phantom Buster, Dripify, and the system that I've created. From what I've gathered across the internet, these are the main ones that people use, and they do work to some capacity, obviously. They have built-in human-like behavior, they go under the radar, and they obviously integrate some manual actions, some limitations, so that your account doesn't get flagged. The benefit of using Phantom Buster or Dripify, so here we have these two, one of these, is that everything is set up for you. You don't have to create those limitations. You don't have to set up the boundaries. It's already pre-designed. With this system that I've created here, I have implemented those delays, those checks to mimic, again, human behavior as much as possible. But of course, this is set up in a way that I know works for me, and I can scale this appropriately. But you would need to understand what is an appropriate amount of behavior or actions for your own account. Now, the main benefits, which, I'm not going to be around the bush here, is of course the money. Ultimately, if you've got an n8n system already set up on a virtual private server, a VPS, then adding this stack to it's not going to cost you really anything. It's already included in your current payments. But let's say you were to go and set up this system from scratch. How much would it cost you? Now, hosting it, which is what I personally use, I'm not a referral of them, but they've got a Black Friday sale going on right now. To be honest, I think they always have a sale going on. I wouldn't personally worry about this particular time. But anyway, they've always got a good deal. And so you can get the KVM1 plan will be more than enough. I did get the KVM2. I'm using like 16% of it, and I've got loads of clients running off it. So turns out I may have spent more money than I needed to. So you can just get the KVM1. It's fine. And that's $5 a month, which is an incredibly small amount for the amount of benefits you will be able to get out of this. Only could you, of course, set up your n8n system, you could also run your website or anything else over as well. It gives you a free domain, so lots of benefits there. There's also there's plenty of systems out there that do this in a very cost-effective way. So essentially for $5 a month, plus the Unipile subscription, which is $55 a month, so we're now at 60, you can have this running. Now, the benefit here is that for Unipile, for $55 a month, you can have up to 10 accounts, and every account after that is only an additional $5. So if you're just doing this for yourself, yes, it could be potentially expensive, but it's still no more expensive than if you were to do Dripify's Pro plan, even the basic. It's still cheaper than that, and it's still cheaper than Phantom Buster as well. So no matter which option you're doing, it's still going to be cheaper than doing either a Phantom Buster or Dripify, even if you're just doing it for yourself. And then you can add this system, you can get it running, you can set it up, you can do it through Airtable. I can do it for 1,000 records per account, which is more than enough. You can create a new database every single time you go past 1,000. So there shouldn't be any restrictions there. Or you can go get Freedom Stack. I think it was, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, Freelance Stack. I use this one. Again, I'm not a referral of them, but I use them, and it allowed me to get their Airtable for free for a year, which was obviously very beneficial. It saved me like hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars. Then we have the further money restrictions. Now, this is $60, but with this system per month, you have essentially unlimited actions that you can take based upon the limitations of your own LinkedIn account. There aren't any restrictions on how many accounts you can add to this. There aren't any restrictions on the amount of actions you can take. There aren't any action restrictions on the amount of different types of actions that you can. However, with both Phantom Buster and with Dripify, they have their own limitations on top of the amount you pay. Obviously, the more you pay, the more you get. Pretty standard. But if we take a look at Phantom Buster, for example, on Phantom Buster, if you were to do it yearly, let's just say to whatever, you would be paying £350 a month to get their top tier one. You would most likely, and I personally use this, you would most likely need this one, the Pro one, to be able to do all the actions that you want to do. You still wouldn't be able to do everything that is included in this system here. You would be limited by quite a lot. You'd have to pick and choose which actions you wanted to take, but this would get you most of things. This wouldn't really do much at all. You would have to get rid of some phantoms. You would have to be very limited on your behaviors. It could do some things, but it wouldn't be able to, let's say, complete the majority of what you considered important. Then, of course, the team one and even the team plan, $350 a month, which, per year is, okay, we are, yeah, 4.2K dollars per year. If you were to do it monthly, which, let's be real here, most people are going to do this monthly because they don't want to shell out that amount in one go, and they also don't know if they'll be using it all the time. So yeah, between 4.2 to 5.2K per year to get their highest plan, which still has limitations. You got 300 hours a month, which is based upon how long the phantoms are running. You have 50 slots, which is how many actions you can take, like how many different types of phantoms you can run. So all the solutions here, if I click into them, these are what they break them down to. The connect profiles from a LinkedIn search, 3 slots. Here we just have that down here. It's actually just in one line. If you've got profiles, then all you need to do is just this line here, and you're just sending them in one line. It doesn't require 3 slots. And you could be doing this on unlimited profiles on n8n without having to pay $300 a month. Then if we take a look into Dripify, limits you based upon counts. So different to Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster, which I believe is built off Unipile. I don't have any proof of this, but it just seems based upon the documentation and the way that Phantom Buster works, that it is likely to be doing so. Phantom Buster has a limitation on the amount of use you can get out of it, the amount of hours you can have actioning, and the amount of slots you can have. But it doesn't have a limitation on accounts. So you can connect and swap out as many accounts as you want, which is useful, and you can change them in and out depending on client cases and what you're doing. However, a problem that Phantom Buster and pretty much every system has is the execution time, meaning that once lead lists start to become larger, so they could go into the thousands of leads, which is more than easily enough to do if you're working with lots of accounts, the system starts to slow down. It starts to take a lot longer to go through that list, and so therefore this 300 hours becomes almost minimal. What would personally take you maybe 10 minutes to maybe individually go through an account and connect to someone, send a message, could end up taking this an hour because it's having to go through and check every single action to make sure that it's working. This is something which, of course, this system doesn't have, because again, it's running off your VPS, and it is only checking very specific lead times for each individual run that it is doing, meaning that it is never going to be running for longer than it needs to. I think the max execution time would probably be like 20 minutes if it's going to be sending messages. But this one here, personally, it's not going to take too long at all. And even then, it's running off your own VPS. So it's not going to cause any sort of strain on your server, and where you'll be allowed to Again, run this as much as you want without having to worry about your time running out. Time running out isn't a thing when you've built your own system. And actually, I remember personally, I used Phantom Buster a long time ago, I believe when it was first made. And they had a 10 slot plan, which was great. This 5 slot plan, I'll be honest with you, is shit. Like, it's really shit. They have done that to force people to go to this pro plan, and I really don't like how they have created that. And the only reason they can do this is because there's no competitor, which transparently this is a free option, or very low cost option, as I mentioned, which does everything here and more. Now Dripify, this obviously limits you in terms of actions, but it also limits in terms of users. So this is like every single user that you have has to be paying this per month. So if I was doing this right now for all my clients, I'd be paying thousands per month for every user, which is just, again, a ridiculous limitation to have. You could only have one campaign. I can have unlimited. You could only do, here, only 20 messages, connection requests. Again, 75. Again, technically this can be unlimited. The only limitation you have on here is to do with your own accounts. And yeah, any of these things pretty much can be done through the LinkedIn Every system. This doesn't have comments. Phantom Buster does have comments. This one doesn't have comments. Of course, on my system, I do have comments built in. So I can create personalized comments on people's posts. And of course, all the leads are in your own system anyway, so you don't have to worry about them being somewhere and wondering about usage and so on. Teams, you don't have to worry about that. You can share your Airtable or access with anyone that you consider who needs it. You can set up webhooks, and safety is all there. Okay. So cost-wise for this one, transparently, the basic plan would do most people's jobs. Like 20 connection requests a day, 30 messages per day might not be enough. You probably could use this one to begin with for a few months. And then strategically, they have limited the amount of messages that you can send per day and profiles that you're allowed to view per day. Because again, that's an annoying limitation to have, because you can view like 500 per day. And you would probably, after a few months, have to move to the pro plan. And that's just on yourself. If you're doing this for more than one account, then very quickly the cost is going to add up quite significantly for no reason other than you not wanting to set it up yourself. And transparently, it's with the videos I've gone through already, and with this here, if you pre-download it, and with the setup video, and with the provided Airtable, it doesn't require much technical knowledge to get this running. And in the end, the hours that you'll put in, like it'll probably take a few hours for you to get this up and running and set up, will save you hundreds, potentially thousands every single month. For me, this is probably saving tens of thousands over the course of the year, which allows me to invest that in things which I would consider more beneficial. Yeah, that was just a quick video just explaining the differences and limitations between Phantom Buster, Dripify, and my own LinkedIn Everything system. If you have any questions, if you want to understand more, please feel free to ask in the comments. I've personally moved clients over from these two systems onto what I've made here, as it is essentially in my eyes, a far superior system which doesn't limit you and allows you to behave in the way that you want to. Any action that you wish to take can be done here, and you can get more actions obviously from the Unipart documentation. Any action that you wish to take can be made and added. It is up to your own imagination of how far you want to take it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.